Africa hosts an estimated 25 million refugees, displaced persons and asylum seekers in 2019, more than half of them children. Some African countries, including Uganda, Sudan, and Ethiopia, host some of the largest refugee populations in the world. Armed conflicts have caused the exodus of millions of Africans desperate to flee violence. Most have lost everything: their homes, their relatives, and their identities. They often arrive in their host countries in a state of exhaustion, malnutrition, and trauma. The conflict in South Sudan has left over 4 million forcibly displaced from their homes since 2013, more than 2 million to neighboring countries. Considered as one of the most severe humanitarian crises on the continent, the situation in South Sudan is exacerbated by malaria, lack of housing, and limited access to water. Climate change also fuels the refugee crisis, causing the displacement of millions, as is already the case in the Horn of Africa. Cyclones, recurrent droughts, poor harvests, and water shortages are likely to force an estimated 80 million Africans into exodus by 2050. Displaced people and refugees are particularly vulnerable to xenophobia, arbitrary detention, sexual abuse, trafficking, and forced labor. Children are particularly affected by displacement, which disrupts their family life, health, and education. Protecting the millions of people forcibly displaced from their homes is an imperative enshrined in international law. Refugees, IDPs, returnees, and stateless people all have a right to decent displacement and asylum conditions. All have a right to rebuild their lives in a safe environment through return assistance, integration into the host country, or resettlement in a third country. How can we ensure the protection of civilians during conflicts, thus preventing their displacement in the first place? How can we strengthen the protection of displaced persons and help them rebuild their lives? Which strategies can help prevent mass displacements linked to climate change?